Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Illiana Stock Car Radio, episode 98 on tap for everybody. This week, Jeremy Banning here, along with the brothers Bad Luck Brian Goodacre and Chris Goodacre. What's going on, guys?
Well, we got actually kind of a long intro here. Today's Wednesday, 9/11. Happy Patriot Day. Worst day in American history in my life. Probably all three of us, honestly.
So yeah, we're old enough to remember.
Do we need to take a moment of silence for 9/11 real quick?
Yeah, I think we should definitely take a moment of silence for all the victims of the 9/11 terrorist attacks. Definitely a somber day in American history, but thinking a little bit more local as well. Get the bad stuff out of the way, I guess, first, right?
Rip it off.
Yeah.
Rip the Band-Aids off. Also want to say rest in peace to Paul Goldsmith. Chris, you mentioned that we should throw this one in, and definitely is appropriate.
Yeah, former Bettenhausen winner. We had him up whatever year Rhonda brought up all the old former winners and took a picture, and John Nelly stuck his head in. Then we had to Photoshop him out afterwards.
Definitely a local motorsports racing legend in the area. Won his last AMA race at the Illiana Motor Speedway. Like I said, did a lot around in NASCAR and USAC and IndyCar. So definitely want to send our condolences to his family as well. And then also racing is now completely done at the South Bend Motor Speedway. I know that has been a point of contention online on some of the social media stuff.
You want to go there?
Surprise.
For 3 years?
Yes.
4 years? 5 years?
But nonetheless.
I think going all the way back to when Ron Varash was putting on the grandfather didn't save the speedway races. You get one race a year to say we're staying a racetrack. I think even back then. But there was complaining about South Bend before there was Facebook to complain on.
Yes, but the last laps have been turned at the speedway, and I think all of us, regardless, I want to thank the Sauer family for everything that they've done to keep that racetrack going for the last several years. But now they've transitioned their efforts to Plymouth Motor Speedway. They've been off the last several weeks, but I think they've got some good stuff coming up there this weekend that we will get to later on in the show. Also off lately.
South Bend is, we got a special place in it, at least for me, but after Illiana closed, that's where Dad and I would spend Saturday nights. And then, after we temporarily, briefly gave up racing photography for about 5 minutes, that's where I found myself in the infield making friends with Jay Freet and Stephanie Verdine and that entire group of people that inhabits South Bend, Plymouth, etc. out there now. And I'm gonna miss that place.
Yeah, well, they say when one door closes, another one opens, and kind of got a different set of racing family or a more extended racing family. Most of them, still frequent the Grundy County Speedway anyways. But you extend it out to South Bend and now Plymouth, and obviously Brian down at Shady Hill. So we've all kind of
Brian's even found his way to Kankakee a couple years. Well, this year, last year.
Yeah, we've all kind of just dispersed.
I actually went back there in 2012.
You did, yes, and caught some interesting pictures that night.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I've been far more lucky than I have been good. So.
Yeah, that's what I think Richard Petty once said that. It's better be lucky than good.
Yeah. Right? In fact, there was Reagan Rich, driver of the number 29 stock car, apparently had a deal with Kyle Anderson, driver of the number 41 stock car, that they both raced Fairbury for the Hubert Memorial. And Kyle had said, "If you pass me, I'll wave at you." I had no idea. I never knew anything, but I just so happened to catch a picture of Reagan Rich driving past Kyle Anderson because I think he broke. So he's up high. Like I didn't even see it in the picture. I just, that's a good picture of her passing somebody, and she posted it today. And sure as shit, Kyle is waving to Reagan in my photo. I'm just like, better be lucky than good.
Hey, if you're good enough, you don't need luck.
That's right.
Also
What did
true.
the football coach say? Luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
That's it.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Pretty sure you also said, Goody, why are you running those tires again? Don't you remember how it happened last time?
Yeah, right. They burned the ropes after I tore my meniscus. That was cool. But
Kankakee's been off. So Shady
Yep.
Hill, man. What do we got?
Yeah.
What have we had going on over there, Brian?
Well, actually, we had a big night for myself, really, because Chris doesn't come out there anymore unless.
Hey, I was out there once this year and got rained on and then finished the night.
Unless I hold him hostage, he does not come out there. He's afraid of the dirt.
I'm not afraid of the dirt. I send my A people to Shady Hill.
Yeah. Okay.
And my other A guy goes to Grundy because Aaron, he's got more A's.
That's technicality. He's got two. He's a double A.
So I guess Shady Hill gets the B group.
Yeah. Right. They get the bad luck.
No, you take the bad luck in Illinois.
Yeah. Speaking of bad luck, I do have to rescind a statement, make an apology. First of all, thank you, Cameron Scheidler, for listening to the podcast. We really appreciate it. Whatever happened in the conversation between me and Leslie, I assumed that it was the 11S crew that said, "Oh, he's bad luck. We want you here." Nonetheless, I showed up. They didn't win, so I'm gonna stick with I'm still the bad luck. But yeah, I guess maybe it wasn't them that said it. I don't know. You know how a conversation happens. But anyway, sorry for putting you on blast. You guys are always great to me. Appreciate it. I guess I need to listen a little bit better to the conversation. Yeah, exactly.
This would be a Brian open mouth insert foot moment.
Oh yeah.
100%. Oh, that's never happened before. What are you talking about?
I'm very good at that. Ask my wife. But
this is why Jeremy does the intros, so we get the Illiana stock car radio.
Yeah, so we get the name of the podcast right.
Right. Yeah. Welcome to the podcast. Anyway, racing wise, Shady Hill is been just chugging along again. We had, I think, our fourth rain out technically. I don't know. We're batting pretty good over there this year. But this past weekend was a really big one for Goodacre Photography
and for lovers of hot dogs.
Yep. Oh yeah. We spent a bunch of money and have some fun with the fans because let's face it, that's where we started. 6 days old, Dad had me up there in the top row at Illiana and never looked back. Been a fan of racing. Now grew up on asphalt. Still very much love my asphalt, but getting into dirt racing has been a learning curve, especially photography wise, dealing with dust and car angles and learning a lot just to shoot, around things and whatnot. And I just love racing in general. I'm a fan of racing, and it's really the fans that we do it for. The racers do it for, and so I know every track kind of has a fan appreciation night. And when I joined on at Shady Hill, by virtue of Dad telling me that we've got the gig, whether I like it or not, they didn't. They always take care of their fans. They put on a show. They're really and they really just it's almost like a circus sometimes, with all the stuff going on. And it's a good time over there. And if any of you race fans any of you asphalt guys have a free Saturday night and want to make the trek over, Nippenbergs have been out there 3 or 4 times. Bobby Gash has been out there a couple times. And we're getting
Sean Wilcher used to race out there when he was
Sean Wilcher
there in his dirt days.
So there's plenty of racers you can talk to.
Ryan Lagacy.
That all asphalt people. But Shady Hill does a good job.
Lagacy an asphalt person.
Yeah, at this point, no. But they definitely put on for the fans. But I kind of wanted to go above and beyond. And so last year we started the hot dog toss tradition. And if you saw my Facebook post today, there is very much an open name brainstorming thing going on and whatnot. But we also put up it ended up being 29 shirts because I don't know how to count, sort of thing. And so we're I'm gonna stick to taking pictures. Good thing I'm pretty, right? So we donated a bunch of T-shirts. Said had our logo, had Shady Hills logo, Fan Appreciation 2024. Those got thrown out to the crowd. I know a handful of drivers had some stuff that they added it along. I know love mom, thank you. Did a great deal. Made 100 and something goodie bags to hand out at the photography booth to the little kids. Get them kind of started. I know she did like some candy, pencil, rubber band, or not rubber band, wristband that happens to be rubber. And she did, which was actually really unique and cool and like fits perfect with us. But these little like 36 page little photo albums, 4x6. And so as you see behind me, that's this year's albums. But if you look way behind me, wrong way, hang on, whatever.
He's moves and his camera's
way
gonna go out
back
of focus, I
there is
guarantee it.
well, there's the dog toys, but right there are the 4 bins of 2018 through 2023. And there's, I mean, I didn't even make a dent. I gave mom like 110 photos. Didn't even make a dent. So
and that's just the 4 years of Shady Hill.
Right.
It would break the podcast looking at what I got from Illiana and Grundy.
Yeah, right. You got to come to the memorabilia show in March to see that, right?
Yeah, because it's all crated up again.
But yeah, we Dad was a fan. Dad started us as fans. I think Grandpa.
We all had our own little photo albums that we collected.
Yeah, Grandpa.
So,
I think.
Grandpa took Dad and Uncle Dave, and
Grandpa liked cars and could drink a beer.
He worked on a couple too. I know Joe London was one of them. I think. See, I was talking to Dave Memorial Day, and there was somebody else, but he couldn't remember who the name was. But back in the days, everybody had a race car. Everybody's dad or grandpa was a shade tree mechanic, so they'd all get together and work on each other's cars, and then they'd go racing at the end of the week.
Yeah. So we all started as fans, and we're going to continue as fans, and we thank the fans because that's what keeps the doors open. That's what keeps the racers coming back, despite all their complaints. So so it's a really cool weekend, and I'd like to continue to grow that and do more things, give bigger giveaways. I know this year we gave away 2 tickets to the Mystery 100, which is coming up, and 2 tickets to the awards banquet. Because like back in the day, I guess fans actually went to the awards banquet, or maybe it was just Papa Joe and he just loves Illiana that much, sort of thing. But
hey, he was always number 1 in line for a season pass, and number 1 in the gate.
Yeah. But there were, back in the day, there used to be fans there. Now it's pulling teeth.
Just now we can't get the drivers to show up.
And so I think kind of giving those things away. It's $35 a ticket, so it costs us $70 to give those away. Whatever, man. $70 ain't nothing. Well, to me it's not, but I also drive a beer truck for a living, and I don't pay for a race car, so $70 is a little, it's a little different for me.
What's more important is Brian was giving away hot dogs.
That's
yeah, and I said I gotta start pocketing some of these, man. For everyone I throw, I should, or for every like 2 or 3 I throw, I should probably put one in my pocket.
If you learned anything from Jay Freed, it'd be have a hot dog in your pocket.
Pocket hot dogs. I know. But we buy a case of 80, and Tammy gets Rhonda in the kitchen whipping them all up with the concession stand staff out there, and then they walk them down in baskets. And this year Sierra handed it to me, said, "Here's your hot dogs." And I'm just like, oh shit, sort of thing. And so I go down to the far end, and we're kind of 3 or 4 of us kind of sectioned out there, and then they send a basket or a basket and a half into the pits, for all the drivers and crew that don't come out to the stands. So although I was walking up for something, I think just to see if mom was all good and everything, kind of during intermission, and they had announced the hot dog toss, and I heard Travis Walford go hot dog toss, and turned around and came right back down to the front row. So it's a good time, man. I really enjoy it. I know I'd really like to get the autograph night kind of moved to sync up with fan appreciation. I think that'd be cool.
That is a good pairing of things.
Yeah. So so I
should put that to the committee.
I will. We'll have a sit down with them and get the awards.
I'm sure we'll find a pizza place somewhere now that Tony's gone.
Yeah, and I look forward to continue to grow that and make it bigger and better each year. And yeah, it's good, and only 3 weeks left, man. It's like,
I'm
okay,
jealous. I mean,
3 weeks left. We're gonna make it. Football season is right here. I get to watch still, but
hey, Purdue's undefeated. Bears are undefeated.
yeah, we're looking good right now. But yeah, 3 weeks left, so get to the track. Otherwise, I guess you could go to Grundy because they still got a month left.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had a good weekend. Oh, you know what? We did have somebody barrel roll it down the front stretch. Michael Bennett in the B main.
Was it right after they announced the hot dog toss and he wanted to make sure he got there first?
Yeah, make sure he got to the
yeah, right,
spot first,
right.
man.
But outside of that, I feel like we've been pretty good. Hard racing, hard racing. Everybody else seems to be already finished up. Kankakey's gonna finish their season here, but yeah, it was really hard racing Saturday, which is fully expected.
Get to that point of the season, man. Smoke it if you got it.
Mhm.
Everybody wants some hot dogs.
That's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then last you mentioned Grundy County Speedway still has a little bit left, but they wrapped up their points weekend over Labor Day weekend. Quite the weekend of racing, Chris.
Oh, absolutely, man. We're gonna get into it a little bit here in our interview, but the second groove there, man, that is something else. It's I was a little nervous at first because Grundy's never had a second groove before. Everybody, Grundy, if you're not running on the rumble strips, you're not fast. And it's over the course of the season now. If you're not running that second groove, you're not fast. The last couple of races, actually, Caleb a couple of weeks ago asked what my thoughts on the second groove. I said, man, it's almost like Grundy's a one groove racetrack again. It's just a lane higher. If people get their car set up to run the bottom, we're going to have some absolutely excellent racing. And then the Mid-Ams literally that night are side by side the entire race. So yeah, once people start experimenting, I think we're going to have some just like absolutely phenomenal racing. I know the Lee Schuler Memorial Zolad's crew, they were if the race is 100 laps, you'd be right there knocking on Paulie's door. It seemed like Paulie Schaefer is the only one that really could put his car anywhere he wanted to and just run away. But that's Paulie Schaefer. You'll have that.
Yep. Yeah, he dominated the weekend. But yeah, our car was real good over Lee Schuler Memorial. Ran our fastest laps right at the end of the race, so we were kind of busted free from some of the traffic late and was able to kind of get in a rhythm just too little too late.
That is one thing that I noticed is Stan really got just bogged down between people that were making both grooves work, and unfortunately there's not a third groove he can go to yet.
No, he was getting frustrated too in the car because he'd choose the top and that car would kind of start going and then the bottom would prevail and he'd go back to the bottom and then that car would kind of start going a little bit and then the top would catch back up. So you just never find that lane through, and just with some of the restarts kind of worked out so we could kind of get to a point where we could get our way up and into a little bit of clean air, and then car started coming alive. So I know he's really excited about the Bentonhausen, as is everybody else.
I'm excited now that we got it was I love Labor Day weekend out there. It's always great racing. Usually some extracurriculars going on too, but for the most part everybody behaved themselves.
Pretty well played nice, it seemed like. So which is good. But now,
unlike this past weekend when we had the complete opposite. The whole thing was like we had the Crown Vics running backwards oval, backwards chicane. There was a Hound in the Hare race with the Pure Stocks and Sixers. I think we're both together in that one. There was an Escape from I-80 race, which was just absolutely insane to watch. Full on Pure Stock feature with campers and buses and trucks and Crown Vics just going speed limit around the track. Meanwhile,
sounds like Zolad's Lee Schuler Memorial.
A little bit, yeah.
Feels like it, yeah.
It kind of looked like it. But then, we had the bus race that we're gonna get into because our guest tonight, Caleb Adrian, race director / bus driver. And I think Trevor Sterrick rolled over a bus. There's our ambulance driver actually moonlights as a school bus racer. He had the short bus and all but rolled that thing over. I think we had 3 buses rolled over by the end of the race. And other than Trevor's, I think Trevor broke something in his, but 2 of them they put back up on the wheels. They kept rolling. And It was wild. I can't remember the name of the guy that won off the top of my head. I know it's in the notes somewhere, but I actually passed his bus on the way to the track. He was driving it to the track. Real throwback from old racing where you got to take care of your car because you drove it to the track and you got to drive it home. Yeah, he took care of his bus, drove it to the track, drove it home. And then, we had, I am terrible with names tonight. Suicide Strayhorn, I think, did the Steve Wells bit where you do a lap and you run into a car was on fire, flips backwards over his car, the big huge explosion, all kinds of fun.
How'd you guys land the flamethrower?
I assume
you can't say.
Yeah, he's not at liberty to discuss.
As far as I know, flamethrowers are legal to own, less legal to use. I don't know. We had a flamethrower. We had I think it was Rockstar Russ, I think his name was, that had the rollover trike and the 2/3 of a Mini Cooper with skid plates on the back that did donuts that Big Daddy John Stark got a ride in and got out and looked like he was about 2 cases in by the time he was done. And then they had the I don't even know what to call it. It was they threw gas or lighter fluid or something down on the infield, and it was just like a roll cage with an engine and tires, and he was doing burnouts through them and the fire all through the wheels on it. It was just lots of fire. And then our buddy Aaron and I were on his show at one point, racing Mason Dixon. I don't know, he was just in his camper and he had it parked right smack in the middle of the X, and we parked a bus in it. So that was pretty wild. Yeah. I think the bus was supposed to jump the camper, but white buses can't jump, so it just kind of landed in the camper. But yeah, all in all, that was a fun show. It did, burnout contest. There was things you shouldn't hit with your car, which was less of a race and more of a let's put stuff on the track and hit it with cars. And there was we laid to rest a hot tub, a piano, some furniture, a refrigerator, a barrel of water. That's always fun. I think there were a couple snowmobiles that are now snowmo pieces. But yeah, it was a slice of redneck heaven.
Yeah, sounds like a night of destruction lived up to its name.
Yeah, I'm sure Mike and Rich are still cleaning the track up from that.
Yeah, I'm sure that they probably are. But let's look forward to the Bettenhausen Memorial out there that we hope is not a night of destruction out at the racetrack.
It better not be. I've seen too many Bettenhausens that were.
I know, right? And we'll talk about that here in a little bit with our guest this week. First-year race director out at the Grundy County Speedway, former racer in his own right, Caleb Adrian. Was voluntold. I think he was going to be on the show, Chris.
Earlier this season, I told him he doesn't have a choice, so he just had to work him in the schedule, and this seemed like a perfect opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. So, yeah, big race coming up at the Grundy County Speedway, one with a lot of tradition. So yeah, we figured it was to be a good opportunity to get on and preview that race and then kind of reflect on his first season at the Grundy County Speedway. So I think without further ado, let's welcome in Grundy County Speedway race director, Caleb Adrian.
All right. Well, here we have with us Caleb Adrian, former late model race car driver turned race director at Grundy County Motor Speedway in Morris, Illinois. Originally from Iowa, now residing in the beautiful Morris, Illinois. We have first question everybody's dying to know: is Bad Luck Brian allowed back at Grundy County yet?
Maybe I didn't hear the story of when you got removed. I guess I'll have to look into that more.
Yeah. So Chris took off to Rockford to shoot the Illiana Stock Car Hall of Fame.
Illinois Stock Car Hall of Fame.
What did I say?
That's another $1 a jar, Brian.
Oh my God. The Illinois Stock Car Hall of Fame.
God, Rhonda's going to kill you.
I'm about to say inauguration.
You got them all flustered. Come on.
Anyway, Chris took off to Rockford. I came to Grundy, and we had someone filling at Shady Hill, and it was a night that lasted for me pretty quick. Getting done by 11:30. I was happy to get out of there early, but since Chris was not there, I was the easy scapegoat, and as I was putting things away, You asked me not to return with my bad
Yeah,
luck.
yeah, it was a rough night. It was definitely probably one of our longer nights of the year. And let's just say, Chris, we look forward to having you back this or next weekend at Bettenhausen.
Yeah.
No,
So,
I'm just kidding. No, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Always, and it was nice to meet you, and you were fun to deal with.
Just leave your weather in our state.
Yeah, I will. I'll do my best. But the bad luck carries on, man. I went back to Shady Hill the next week, and there was like a big fight, and we ran late into the night. So it's definitely a curse that I probably carry on my shoulders. They're broad enough I can carry it, I guess. So
Yeah.
Anyway, enough bad luck. Let's talk about your history as a race car driver. I found an article where I want to say maybe it's 16, 17, somewhere in there, where maybe Bilderback kind of had his way with you there. You were racing for the lead and you got put in the wall, and you had your opinion about it. But what race car driver doesn't have their opinion? So let's talk about your former racing days.
Yeah, no, I think that was probably 2016. I think it was at Hawkeye Downs and the Big 8 Series. And yeah, Mike and I were just racing for the win on the last lap, and we touched. I went into the wall, and he won the race. But that was a long time ago. Since then, Michael and I have, gotten past that, and we definitely talk more whenever we run each other at the racetrack. So all good there. No, I mean, really, I've been around racing my whole life. My dad had a Busch Series team in the 90s. And then when my younger brother was born in 2004, we kind of stepped back from racing and took about a 5-year break from it. And they started a super late model team with a driver named Joey King. And he was around for a couple of years and before they picked up Jeff Choquette. And that's really when the super late model program really took a big leap. Jeff's just a wheelman. He was winning everywhere. Wherever we showed up, I mean, we were definitely a contender. They opened back up the NASCAR Truck Series team for him and just ran a limited schedule, just being out of Iowa. We don't have the resources, right? Like they had North Carolina. So we ran short tracks, Iowa, Phoenix, stuff like that, and had some top 5s, top 10s. And then around 2011 or so, I started racing Legends cars and raced Legends cars till 2013, 2014, and started racing limiteds and had some good success there and transitioned into supers in 2015 and raced all over the country in 2015 and then kind of scaled back in 2016 through, I want to say 2018, 2019, and just raced locally from there.
Awesome. What track was your favorite to race at?
I really liked Madison. Okay. Five Flag Speedway in Pensacola. That's definitely a fun one. I would probably put Madison at the top though. I really enjoyed Madison every single went there.
Okay. Awesome.
Never had the pleasure to race at Grundy though.
Yeah. Well,
I beg to differ. I have pictures of you racing at Grundy, just not in a super late.
What was that?
Yeah. So
what were you in last week that you got pit maneuvered by?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, there you go. I guess I have in the bus races, which is truthfully more fun than I had than any super race. So,
from late models to legends to now school buses,
washed up bus driver.
Hey, that's okay. There's plenty of washed up racers winning championships in the Crown Vic class. David Einhaus, if you will. I mean, okay, he dropped from the Mid Am and decided a cheaper route of racing may be more suitable to him in his situation. But nonetheless, it's fun to see guys kind of ebb and flow, grow. There's one night I was out there at Grundy, one of the old Chad Bayuk, maybe it was. I remember watching him as a kid in the grandstands run street stocks, and now he's out there running Crown Vics. So
running street stock too.
Yeah,
racers never really retire.
No, I mean I grew up. Eddie Hoffman was my favorite driver growing up. Every time you'd see him, you'd have the Lisa Thomas sponsor and all the pretty girls that went along with it, right? And I was young, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
want to be him when I'm older, right? And now he's still around racing at Grundy.
Yeah. He has lost his Lisa Thomas sponsor, so now you got to deal with his sweaty crewmen. But whatever, you know, it's all the same, right?
Yep.
So as you progress through your racing career, what was it that led you to become the race director at Grundy, and what all's entailed with that job?
I grew up, like you said, in Iowa, and my parents were always in transportation, and that's kind of what I followed suit in. And 2019, I was at kind of a crossroads and came up here to start up a transportation company. And my now wife, Erica, always lived here, just about 10 miles from Morrison, small town Sheridan. So it was just kind of fitting. Since 2019, I've been kind of a fan, and I've always wanted to get back into racing some way. And the funds weren't there to go back racing, so I like I said, I've been just a fan, and when this gig kind of opened up, I jumped at it. It was just a way for me to get back involved and try to help out in any way I could.
Cool. Now we know that Erica was a racer herself, so it's probably not hard to convince her to go to the racetrack. But it does make it a lot easier to convince a wife who's not a race fan to go to the track when you're getting paid to be there.
Yeah. So we just had our first baby about a month ago, and I think it was 7 days after. She's like, "All right, like, can I go to the track yet?" She was not cleared yet by her doctor, but she just got to go back for the first time last week, and she was in cloud nine, that's for sure.
Awesome.
Besides the fact of me racing a bus, she wasn't
Yeah. Well, congratulations on becoming a dad. And
I appreciate that.
Congratulations on continuing your racing career. Might be a bus, a little less fast, but way more fun, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm having a blast. I can't wait for next year's.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, you are no stranger to big races. That article I mentioned was about you going down to chase the Snowball Derby, I believe, for your second time, maybe. But you've raced local, you've done Big Eights, you've done ARCA Midwest, you chased the Snowball Derby. Talk about big races and what does that mean to drivers, and as they prepare for the upcoming 63rd annual Bettenhausen 100.
Nothing compares to the Snowball Derby. Just I'll tell you, on qualifying night on Friday, I mean, I could barely talk. Like I was about to vomit, for the hour leading up to it. Just so much pressure, right? The year I went, I think there was like 70 supers trying to qualify in for 30 spots. So, it costs a lot of money to go down there. So if you don't make the race, I mean, it's a bust, right? So just a lot of pressure building up to that. And as for the Bettenhausen, it's no different, because I think we're about 30 on the entry list, and we're only taking 24. So some guys will go home. But all in all, I mean, it's going to be a great race. I mean, all season long it's been a very racy track, as you guys know, and we really look forward to it.
Good. Lost my train of thought. Hang on. Okay, there we go. So no longer there it is. Got back on our rails. So no longer behind the wheel. You're now on the headset. So let's talk about how you as a race director are preparing for the Grundy's, and by virtue of no longer any tracks around other than Grundy, Chicagoland's biggest late model race. And as you just mentioned, that second groove has come to life. It's no longer a one groove track. Just follow the leader. In fact, some drivers have publicly come out and said they prefer the high groove there. So let's talk about how you, as a race director, are preparing the track to make this the best Bettenhausen yet.
Yeah, I mean, especially after the bus races, I think that second groove's probably completely wiped out. A lot of debris just throughout the whole night. So they, Mike and Rich at the racetrack have been cleaning now for 5 days on it. So we're definitely gonna need to put some work into the second groove to get it back. we do race the Friday night before the Bettenhausen, so we'll go out and prep the track and let the local division work it in, and supers also have practice. So Saturday when it comes around, the track should be perfect. Hopefully the second group is just as equal. We had a couple nights here that Chris can agree on where the second group may have been a little too dominant, but we're working to make it right for these guys for 100 laps.
Yeah, unless you're Paulie Schaefer, man, it seemed like that last one, it was everybody wanted to be up high.
Yeah, for sure. And there's a lot of mixed emotions on that, and everything we do is strictly trying to improve the track and improve the racing, and we've definitely made strides towards that. Had a little hiccup that night, but I'm confident the Bettenhausen will be a hell of a show.
Good.
Mid-Ams ran both. We just need to tell Zolotz to set his car to work on the inside too.
Yeah.
Hey, our car was one of the few that actually would work on the bottom. So he was trying it later on in the race.
Towards the end of the race. Towards the end of the race, you guys were on a mission for sure.
If that would have been a 100 lapper, and guys better watch out.
Yeah, I think you guys had one of the fastest cars there at the end.
Yep. Yeah, our fastest lap was lap 61. So.
Yep.
So we do have some dirt listeners, and track prep for a dirt track is much different than that from an asphalt. So as you kind of talk about prepping the track, obviously you're gonna kind of clean the asphalt up. There's the surface is kind of the surface. There's not a whole lot of difference as the night goes on, but preparing that second groove, I've heard stories of throwing Coke syrup down. I mean, is it like tire doping basically for an asphalt surface? Kind of explain like the process, so maybe some of our dirt guys that tune in might be able to better understand how track prep for an asphalt track kind of works.
Yeah, we use a product called LC7. Comes in 55-gallon drums, and actually it's typically what every drag strip in the Midwest uses to prep their drag strips, and just put it in sprayers and go by hand in the second groove on both turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I can't give any advice on prepping a dirt track. Don't know much about dirt racing.
Fair enough.
I grew up hearing that dirt was for growing corn. So
yeah.
I think there's
to all of our viewers that have just left.
Yeah, all couple of them. It's fine.
So
Asphalt's for getting there.
Yeah, so I don't. I think there's a little more prep into dirt than there is our asphalt track.
Yeah, I know. Every night we start with a wet-ish track, and then the promoter drives around for about 30 minutes putting more water down, and then we spend about 45 minutes waiting for 2 cars to finally give in and go out and pack the track, and then we start about 30 minutes late, and then we do it all over again. And
telling you, mud lap points. You don't get show up unless you go up for mud laps.
Yeah. And of course every driver has their opinion and their experience, and everybody knows the right answers. And let's face it, nobody really knows the right answers, because you guys are just out there spraying, hoping for the best. And sounds like you guys have really been getting some really good races out of the surface out there.
Yeah, no, we really have. I think the Bettenhausen will be a great show for sure.
Good. So this is kind of a relic to throw back to old days, where the Bettenhausen is now 2 days. As you kind of mentioned, you have open practice listed for the supers and the mid-ams, who will compete just Saturday, but then you are opening up the night for Sixers, Street Stocks, Crown Vics. I don't know how long the list goes. Those are the 3 I saw just a minute ago.
I think everything.
Pretty much everything is running outside of a Big 8, right?
Yep, and total like 9 divisions.
I think so, yeah.
Between 2 days, it'll be an action-packed 2 days, and let's hope it's clean and green, right, Chris?
Yeah. Caleb wants to be done by 9.
Well, that's when the music starts, ain't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, good. So let's kind of talk about the big race. Let's dive into the Bettenhausen. We grew up at Illiana. We've seen our fair share of Bettenhausen, some great racing. I know there was the Bad Luck Bride night. We were the photographer out there, where I think we started at about I don't
Pretty
know.
sure I was on the track that
11?
night.
We started at like 11, and I think
Is that the one where Boris's oil tank blew up before we started?
Yeah, I think so. And he had to go to the
I think the
hospital the
feature
next
started
day,
at like 11:30, something like that.
Yeah. And we finally threw the checkered flag at probably 12:30, 1 o'clock.
Next week sometime.
With probably about 5 cars
6.
left.
Yeah, I was gonna say 5 or 6, but it was good racing. You know, Brian Campbell was up there. See, maybe that wasn't the Boris one, because I feel like Brian Campbell and Boris really put on for a lot of laps there.
You know,
But I do remember.
I'd have to go look at the pictures. I don't remember which one was which.
Yeah, but you know, in our time, the '90s and early 2000s, you know, there are a lot of great Bettenhausens. I know Dad always talked about Sundays in October, so it's ebb and flowed. It's changed, and I know you know, you start to look at that list of previous winners, you see names like Ruttman and Sauter and who else? Galinsky, Jerkovic, Sontag, Paul Goldsmith, rest in peace. You know, and you guys have now kind of carried the torch at Grundy for 5, 6, 7, 8 years almost, you know, and you're looking to kind of put your own stamp on this as a historic race and continue that mystique and that lore and keep that going.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, every year, you know, just seems like we're getting more and more cars. You know, this year at Grundy, and you guys can you know, confirm it, but our car counts have been high for the supers each and every week. You know, when I came up here the last couple of years, there were some nights where we wouldn't be at 10, where I think our lowest, you know, number this year was, I think, 15, and that was the week after we, you know, had that restart issue and took out about six good cars. You know, just
and I think
week.
6 good trophies.
Yeah, exactly. You know, where last weekend I think we were at 20 and 22 on Friday and Sunday, and for the Bettenhausen, like I said, I think we're already at 30 entries, and some guys are still yet to put theirs in. So, you know, it's growing every single year. This year it's $6,300 to win, and I think they're at almost $5,000 in lap money. So it's really
it's a lot of money.
Great, yeah, it's a great opportunity for a lot of guys. You know, Steve Bechtel and Cheryl Hearn have really put in a lot of time to get that lap money race for both mid-ams and the supers. And you know, we're blessed to have those guys for sure.
Yeah, you certainly are. We get Steve on here probably at least twice a year, and he does a lot over there.
Whenever we can't think of anything.
Yeah, he does a good job, you know, pushing Chris's buttons and promoting the Speedway and everything that they do, and you know, Cheryl Wren and everything she does for racing in general, really pulling the kids out, doing a lot for the kids to keep because without the kids, there's really no future, right? And as we talk about kids, how many kids are actually racing late models? You know, how many racers have already entered that are under the age of 20? You know, probably. I bet there's probably 1 or 2 on there.
No, she really does do a great job. Just a couple months ago, she was bringing flyers to Madison, you know, promoting Grundy. So she truly does a lot, and like I said, you know, we're really fortunate to have her support.
Yeah. So this is kind of the big culmination of the season for late models up here in the Chicagoland, and as we kind of begin wrapping up the season, I know there's still about a month left for you guys out there, so you still got plenty of work to do. Don't worry, you know, plenty of nights at the track and whatnot. You know, how do you feel as Grundy has really fared this year? I know there's a lot of negativity that goes on Facebook. There's a lot of people with their own opinions, keyboard warriors, if you will. You know, that they won't come if they don't see an entry list that everybody shows up on, right? You know, we see that you know, those handful of people all the time. You know, who's the expected entries? Who's going to be there? I'm not coming.
Everybody that shows up with a car,
right? And so, you know, how do you feel Grundy has fared this year with a variety of events and the constant push for growth it seems out there?
Yeah, I mean, it's not even been just this year, right? Like I said, since I've been coming up in 2019, there's been, you know, so much growth since then. You know, Joe DeBello has really stepped up since he came in, I think in 2020. And Chris, you may be able to confirm if that was the year.
I think so.
I think it was 2020. And Just from even talking about the bathrooms, right? So much has changed and gotten
Mom
better.
won't shut up every time she's out there. The bathrooms are so nice. Like a hotel.
It's better than using the trough that's Shady Hill.
Right. He's really put together a lot of great people that, have one common goal, and that's, there's just that we love short track racing and want to improve Grundy in any way we can. And from what I've seen, we've really done that, and he's really done that, and we're only going to keep growing. Right. This year we put in the X, and we've done some pretty crazy stuff that probably 10 years ago they said no, we would never be doing stuff like that. And last weekend I don't know the total number of people in the stands, but it had to be close to 4,000 people. It was packed, and people, people were on the edge of their seat watching all those events. So, this year was a big growth year, but like I said, the last 5 have really been big growth years for Grundy.
Yeah. There's a picture that kind of circulates. I think maybe it's like Chicagoland history, or maybe like the history of Grundy Maison Facebook page. But it looks like it's shot kind of on the outside of 3 and 4, and looking up towards the stands, and you've got all the cars and a line going around the track, and just they still have the overhang, so it's way before my time, but the stands are just absolutely packed. And looking at a lot of old Stan Kalasinski collection stuff. I don't know that he shot it, but it's pictures that he owns and has shared. The wall is still very much gathered upon by people that are absolutely nuts, but back then we're even more nuts because there's no fence there. But there's standing room only, and so I know that a regular Friday night it can be kind of tough to draw that kind of crowd. But with some of the events you guys have put on, it's been absolutely jam packed, standing room only. And I'm certain that the expectation is to continue that trend out there.
Yeah, even I can confirm. There was one night that I think it was our first. Was it the bus race maybe? That we were, starting at 7 and it's 7:05, and Caleb, I can see him just pacing back and forth on the top row of the stands because he wants to start, but we still got a line all the way back out to 47 trying to get in the front gate.
Yeah, I think we didn't end up starting till that was the only night this year, just for the record, that we did not start on time. And we started at 8 because the line was out to 47. It was a great sight to see, that for sure.
Awesome. Well, with all the negativity on Facebook, our buddy Tony Eldridge over at now only Plymouth Motor Speedway, rest in peace, South Bend Speedway. He started a trend, #1positive, long before my time on the show. And we've continued that with our guest, and we asked if you have a positive in your life from racing, family event, whatever may have you, if you'd like to share that with us.
I mean, just really racing in general has brought so much happiness to my life, right? I mean, I got to meet people like you this year, where before all of you guys, really, right?
Yeah,
and really everyone in my circles is racing. That's all I've done my whole life. So really, really blessed to be where I am in my life, and look forward to the continued growth at Grundy.
Yeah, certainly. Well, when Chris gets unburied here from race season, we'll have to go digging and find some Jeff Joquette photos from Illiana and the Adrian Carriers number 29, because I know I was out there for the Harvest 300 that turned into the Harvest 150, whatever the hell it was.
That day.
With 8 cars. I know you guys were out there. Brent Downing was on there. Sterling Marlin. That was actually really cool.
That was cool.
Sure, we only had 8 people, but we had a really cool 8 people.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder what year that was at Jeff race. I know I only raced there one time.
Yeah.
And that was in 2015, your guys' last year, which Chris ended up bringing up some photos, I think. But yeah, I don't wonder what year that would have been. Jeff was there.
Yeah, it was it was a Sunday in October.
Yeah, it was an October Sunday. Because that was the spin-off of the ASA late model series.
Yeah. Not Ron Varney. Is it Ron Varney?
I think it was Ron Varney. Yeah.
Pulled up in his ASA late model hauler, but had the SA kind of blacked out, so it just said A late model series. And he put on this 300 lap Harvest 300. I don't know if it was 10. I don't know. It was a lot of money to win,
Yeah.
but it quickly became only if we have enough cars that show up, and then we're going
Mhm.
to cut it in half, and it ended up being actually pretty good. I think Tanner Berryhill raced in it. I think
Oh,
that's
so
all
this is when
so.
they were going to the Mustang body then.
Yeah,
it was.
it was
'cause
the
Downey,
Mustang and Camaros because he was the only one
Yeah.
that could race them.
Yeah, so this
who
must
was-
have been 2010 then, 2011.
Yeah.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Who,
So yeah,
who-
Jeff would have been there. We ran that. And I think I want to say they kept adding weight to us because we were winning them all.
yeah.
And they're like 50 pounds, 50 pounds, 50.
I can't think of the kid's name that Sterling Marlin had, but Brian Ortiz.
That
Brian-
sounds
Yes.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Blast
Yeah,
from the
there it
past.
is.
Yes, Brian
Yeah.
Ortiz.
That I think that is officially the 8 that race. But
Wow. Yeah, you have a great memory. I forgot
Yeah.
all about that.
Yeah, it was hard to forget. I got a bad sunburn and about 1,000 pictures of 8 cars and 2 of Sterling Marlin because Rhonda wanted it.
Oh,
But-
that's awesome.
Yeah, we go back. But so to wrap things up with you, I want to give you a minute to think. You probably don't have too many sponsors, although being a part of Grundy, maybe you remember the sponsors out there that guys come in. I know all the backstretch billboards. Sorry, those guys put up a lot of money to support the track. And if you want to take a minute to thank any sponsors and supporters.
Yeah, no, I mean, like you said, I don't have personal sponsors myself, but Rod Baker Ford's a big sponsor of Grundy and Hollywood Casino. So we really appreciate their support and look forward to, a long relationship with all of them.
Good. And thank you, Erica, for letting me do his job.
Yeah, thanks to my wife who's upstairs with our newborn.
Thanks, Erica, for finally having that kid. I feel like she was pregnant for about 3 years.
Yeah, definitely felt like forever, but she's been a trooper, and she's I can actually hear him crying upstairs, so she's being a trooper right now with him.
Well, we will let you get to dad duty. Thanks for coming on, Caleb. I will try my best to make it out at least one more time. I'll try to leave the bad luck at home too.
Yeah, just stay away from the Benthausen for me.
I'm busy that weekend. I'll be at Shady Hill.
There you go. Come back for the brackets.
Yeah, perfect. I think I'll be celebrating my 10-year anniversary, and what better place to do it than the racetrack?
There you go. Kelsey, I love that.
Oh, yeah.
I really appreciate you guys having me on, and look forward to seeing you guys soon.
Yep.
Thanks, Caleb.
See you guys.
That was our interview with Grundy County Speedway race director Caleb Adrian. Guys, what do you think about that?
I'm allowed back on the premise.
You are
bad luck. And
you are just not on the
yeah. We have witnesses, and he'll be at Shady Hill the night of the Bettenhausen anyway, so we're all good.
Yeah, he'll have an alibi. It'll be fine. But no, with times that we've been out at the Grundy County Speedway this season, seems like Caleb's doing a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely kind of infuse some energy into the place.
I definitely appreciate not getting home at 2:00 in the morning every week.
Yeah, he keeps the show moving. Which those of us that are have the haul back home, a couple hour ride back home, definitely appreciate in the evenings. But no, he's done a great job out there from everything I can tell.
I think my one critique is, since you guys don't have a hot dog toss, you probably should slow the show down a little bit to sell some hot dogs.
I mean, there's been intermissions for like the t-shirt can and everything. Maybe we get a hot dog cannon.
Yeah.
God, don't give John ideas. He will absolutely do that.
My arm works okay. I played football. I was a defensive lineman.
I've heard that about you.
I was never great. Stop it. We're on YouTube. Stop it. Yeah, I was sitting in the top row at Shady Hill. It's like 45 rows up. You're never there, so you don't know.
It's like one of those fish. I feel like it's one of those fishing stories. The fish was this big.
Yeah, right. But it was good to talk to Caleb. That night I was there.
You're just happy you're allowed out there.
Yeah, he just wanted to get the clearance. That's really what it is.
Yeah. But they've always put on a good show. They've always kind of moved things along. They've never really just drug their feet and done ignorant things and just got lost trying to stall or anything. But for it being his first year, kind of how things kind of worked last year with about 5 race directors and not really having direction, I think that's a good step for Grundy County as a whole, having someone kind of lead the pack here.
Mhm.
Especially when you're going to run 9 divisions in 2 days. I mean, you got to stay on top of it.
Yeah.
Understandably, the one night, mid-amps were kind of running behind because, 4 of them were stuck in their pits because cops were there. But
Yeah, that was a little rough.
That's racing. Shit happens, and you work with it. You got to be able to adapt and overcome, sort of thing, because you just don't know how the night's really how you might expect it to might not be the same. And the little bit I've been out there, they've done a good job. No complaints from me. As for Caleb, he looked me in the face, and I was certainly the scapegoat. But there's no hard feelings, never was. Just kind of funny that about 3 weeks there in August, I became Bad Luck Brian between weather and a long night at Grundy and being bad luck for people winning races, whoever they might be. Whether because actually that night I went to Kankakee and we ended up having the rain move in. I talked to Jake Straka and Joe Murphy, and Joe had mentioned it's Kankakee was kind of a bad luck track for them, and don't take a picture because it's bad luck. And I had taken one picture of them, and then I was on my way home and I realized they never came out on the track. So I messaged Jake. Well, they were leaking water out of some valve or gasket, or I wasn't sure, but yeah. So the bad luck kind of started that week I went to Kankakee, and it's kind of followed me.
Yes, a black cloud over you right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yep. But happy to be able to come back. I it is what it is, and hopefully, Dad always said like things happen for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's uncanny that I'm around when bad things happen.
We should ask Scotty Gardner.
More like a common denominator, I think.
Hey, I'm on good terms with Scotty. He ended up running a really good race that week when I was out there. I think finished second, and he won, of course, I think the following week. But yeah, it's I've always been a big fan of Bettenhausen, and to kind of hear the excitement out of Caleb, and I presume that it's kind of hitting a fever pitch out there with racing coming to an end and big late models, and you're the only track within 300 miles probably. Okay, I guess Plymouth is probably closer to that, but they don't run supers,
right?
And okay,
much to Stan's Olad chagrin.
Yeah,
right.
The Wisconsin tracks are probably closer than 300. You're probably the only asphalt track within 70 to 80, maybe pushing 100, depending on how far those tracks are in Wisconsin. And I mean, that runs a super late model. Otherwise, you got to go find a dirt track that runs a super late model. And half of those are all crate late models, or I guess Rebel late models, what we do at Shady Hill, which is it's kind of an open motor, but only 23 degrees or 13 degrees. I don't know the rules really, but it's some sort of limited degree on the head or block or whatever. It's all beyond my comprehension. I'm just there to take pictures. But but yeah, it's got to be a big weekend, and I hope that you guys hit 40 late models, but traveling's expensive. I know at Illiana we had a couple high 30s pushing.
There were a couple times I remember they pits they were falling out of the pits.
Yeah. And with that, I hope that the mystique and the lore continue to grow, and maybe we'll see a 100th annual Bettenhausen 100. That'd be pretty cool. I'll call in sick at Shady Hill then. But we got 37 years before that, so I might be dead by then. But maybe my kids will go to it. I don't know. But we talked earlier in the season about Grundy picking up Rockford's torches and continue to carry those with the upcoming events and the Big 8 series and the Spring Classic. And, they kind of did the best they could that Illiana kind of allowed them to sort of thing. And
I know there's some politics involved as far as like
Always.
the family but the Bettenhausen's always been the big super late model race at the end of the season, all the way back to when Harry started it. So
yeah,
which
was 1960 what? 62, 61? 60, it would be 61.
Whatever 24 is minus 63.
60, it's 1961.
Numbers are hard. Personal feelings about it's Illiana's race and whatnot. Yeah, I understand it, but I'm glad to see that Grundy was able to pick up the torch and carry on having a big super late model race at the end of the season.
Yep,
yeah,
agreed.
Because this is like Chicagoland's Daytona 500.
Yeah.
Yep.
And with the loss of NTSC up at Rockford, I mean, now there's no
NTSC, I believe, went to the Dells.
Oh, well, it's not a Rockford, so. but we talk about racing all the time, kind of, it's dwindling, it's not the same, it's washing up, but like, us traditionalists love to see the torches carried on, despite our personal feelings. I think we love to see the tradition go on, because that's okay. There's an asterisk. Okay, it's Grundy, it's not Illiana, whatever. It's the Bettenhausen still exists. There's still a big late model race at the end of the year. Call it what you want. It's there. We're there watching it, unless I'm at a different track. But it's good to see Grundy do this, and with the passion that they're doing it at, between Joe and John Starrick and Caleb and the whole staff out there, Steve with his promotion gig going on, and everything out there. It's good to see it continue on.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And as a team that competes in the Bettenhausen, whether trophy is from Illiana or Grundy, we still want a Bettenhausen 100 trophy. So
yeah.
So with that, let's talk about our hashtag one positives for the week. Brian, is your one positive being allowed back at Grundy County Speedway?
my one positive for racing this week is I do all this homework, but not this one.
Forget this one.
It's like the most important one.
This is the same question we ask every week too.
Every single time.
I know. I got to come up with something good, and it's got to be meaningful, and everybody, right? I got to roll with I guess Tammy Hunt. She's got to be a one positive, letting me kind of do whatever I really want out there. She's such a sweetheart, and she certainly stays on top of me. Sometimes it's Tuesday night, probably about 7:30, 8 o'clock our time. They're an hour ahead, and she's like, "Hey, you're gonna send the flyer or the pictures?" And I'm like, "Shit, I forgot." But she always appreciates everything I do for her and Billy, and helping them out with the design and creative side of the racetrack. They obviously handle operations and all that, but I know I'm taking a big burden off their shoulders with everything I provide to them, and them allowing us to be there and shoot and do our deal, and come in and throw a bunch of money at them for a hot dog toss and fire shirts off that have our logo on them, and all that. So it's they got to be my one, or I guess Tammy's got to be my one positive, and working with her is always fun, and I'm excited to see what they're coming up with for the banquet. It's always interesting.
Yep, for sure. Chris, what do you got?
I'm kind of gonna split some hairs here.
All right. I don't have many left to split, so go ahead.
So one of my positives, got to be Grundy all year. They have taken some big risks, big swings. Some of them haven't quite worked out. Hashtag Friday racing at Grundy. But the taking on the Spring Classic and the trailer races, the bus races, the night of thrills. There was a lot of destruction, but the night of thrills, we got brackets coming up at Grundy and the Goblin. Kind of picking up the torch from Illiana and Rockford. Throwing everything at the wall, seeing what sticks. They're not afraid to take some risks, and I applaud everything they've tried this thus far this season. I'm excited to be out there. And while 4-day weeks you are kind of a grind, it's it's racing. I love racing. I love being able to do that, and I love doing it at Grundy. Second one positive is everybody that hasn't complained about South Bend and has shared their memories of the place and how much it meant to them. I know Jay's been working his butt off moderating that Facebook page. But I know he was going through a lot of emotions Saturday night because I saw his his racetrack sunset post, and it always it's sad knowing that's going to be your last racetrack sunset out there. So hats off to the Sauer management team, Tony, Jay, for holding the fort down as long as they could, and I can't wait to see him again here a few miles south. That's positive, right? Yeah, negative. Stop complaining. Appreciate that it happened.
Yeah.
All right, Jeremy.
Yeah, no, I'm going to kind of echo that. I mentioned it a little bit earlier to the Sauer management team, their group, for everything they've done at the South Bend Motor Speedway. That whole team out there, they've been good for the track. They've been good to us anytime we've needed anything or needed them to come on the show or anything like that. Tony especially. So they will get my hashtag one positive for this week. If you guys want to leave a hashtag one positive from the local racing scene from this past week or the season in general, make sure to drop it in the comments below, whether on the YouTube page or Facebook post, wherever you decide you would like to leave it, go ahead and do that. Just put the hashtag one positive in there. We are getting down to it, guys. Last few weeks of the race season, it's fall. It's getting darker earlier here.
Yeah, and I'm having to put the flash on after national anthem now.
Yeah, right. It's getting closer. Chris, you already mentioned Grundy still has several things coming up. Tuner night this weekend. Bentonhausen Memorial coming up. Swap meet, car show, the Bahama Brackets, and the Goblin 250. Plymouth Showdown is this weekend. It
is, yes. Christy Odom, Volin told me I'm shooting her wedding Saturday, so I'll be at the showdown Sunday for features.
Man,
Aaron should
those people that make you shoot September weddings, man.
I know. I don't know about that. At least, well, I mean, I guess technically you're both on the day of a race, but I'm only shooting Christy's wedding on Saturday. I'm not rushing from the wedding to shoot a crash fest.
That's true.
That's ironic because the Tuner Fest turned into a viral crash fest.
Yeah, no, hey, maybe Grundy will go viral again.
Yeah.
Hopefully for something better. Well, I mean, there were a lot of eyes on the track, and it wasn't a race car that got broke.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. A lot coming up in the dirt world there, Brian.
Oh yeah, Kankakee wrapping their season up. I believe if you look at their Facebook, they kind of got it laid out for you. They were expecting rain. I don't know really if they still are Friday night, but I think this Friday night was supposed to be season championship, which may have been pushed back to next Friday. I know they're doing, I forget what it's called, but it's their night of features to kind of end the season. And they have kind of left open that last Friday in September, the 27th, if they got to continue to push things back to make sure they don't finish the season on a rain out. And then Shady Hill, we got 3 weeks left. We got fan appreciation. That was last week. We got autograph night, all 5 divisions. This Saturday, the 14th, followed up with the season championship plus bomber bonus. Next Saturday, we'll crown all our champions. And then at the end of the night, the top 10 bombers and points start complete invert 10th to 1st. So 10th place starts first. Yeah. So 10th to 1st, they run 10 laps. And I don't know what they pocket. I think $1,000. Don't quote me on that, but they pocket a little extra money. And
at
then
least a hot
dog. Sorry, threw those all out last week. And then Shady Hill wraps their season up with the Mystery 100. UMP Modifieds go 100 laps, break at 50. It's actually really cool. I like this. because NASCAR you get to see pit stops because they run a lot with the local short track stuff. You don't really get to see pit stops and people work on cars,
especially pit stops on dirt. That's something different.
Yeah. So we don't have a hot pit. Kankakee does. Some other tracks do. I know the big touring series they kind of have a hot pit where cars can come in, change tires or whatever. But we go full live, man. 15-minute break between lap 50 and 51. And all the cars make their changes for the last 50 laps. We had Jamie Lomax win, I think, 2 years ago. Cole Falloway won last year. So I think A-Dog, Alan Weiser, who's now running a super late model, probably following Mars, most likely. May have dipped into some bigger shows, but we've had some big names come through, and hopefully we can get Brooks, but I don't think it's on a schedule, even though he said he's interested in running it back when we had him on here back in May. And I know Mike McKinney has kind of circled this night a couple times, but I don't think he's made it out. I take that back. He made it out once and won it. So it'd be cool to see him come defend his crown. From like 4 years ago, whenever it was. So, it's a cool event, and I did get to talking with Joe Murphy and Jake Straka, and they, they kind of laid it out. It's hard to run, it's 100 laps. Like that's almost kind of close to half a season on a motor. And so it's a lot of wear and tear on our cars. And so, that might deter some people, but if you win this thing, man, you're making some pretty good bank. I know last year Falloway, I think, pocketed $12,000. I think that's right. Yeah, because Lomax was like 11,000. But it's a long. I think it's the longest modified race anywhere around here, and it's one of the top paying modified races for first. Or certainly around here, possibly in the tri-state area, if you will. I pick 3 states around here, and I
the
think,
longest one.
Yeah. So it's cool, and if you got nothing going on that Saturday, come on out. They got some new sprint car tour, 1,000 to win for them, and I know their page is really pushing it. And then we got some 4 bangers to round out the night. So, but it's only like a select 20. I don't think it's a full 30 or 40, whatever we get sort of night. So. But after that, Shady Hill's done. But there's certainly still a little bit more going on. Montpelier's got Monster Mash, I think, lined up for the end of October. Kokomo Clash is a very popular one. I'm no longer excited to go shoot it because they added XR Super Series late models. So I don't want to be out there with about 45 photographers and like I don't really get to Kokomo, but it certainly would be a good race to go watch. I know I've been to it a couple times, and before it was any sort of traveling series, and these guys beat and bang. It's the end of the year. I know Lee Hall was a big name out there, always raced it, and they kind of memorialized him the year he passed, or maybe the year after he passed. And so I know that that Friday night is kind of the open wheels plus what they call Thunder cars, which is just bombers or factory stocks. And they get a good crop of cars out there. And I know the modifieds really put on, late models put on, which now it's going to be XR. So now it's going to be all your big names. You want to see Davenport and Pierce and Fager and Bab and probably Marlar. Those guys go at it. It'll certainly be a good show. Probably a little pricey to get in. It won't be the normal 20 to 25, whatever it was back when I went, but there's still plenty to do racing wise. But yeah, we wrap things up at Shady Hill in 3 weeks.
Yep. So we are getting down to it, everybody. So while you've still got a chance, make sure to get your backside, trackside, any one of the local race tracks you typically frequent, or maybe if you want to hit somewhere new yet this season, make sure you go ahead and do that. I want to thank Grundy County Speedway race director Caleb Adrian for coming on this week's episode of the Illiana Stock Car Radio podcast. Guys, we got anything else before we wrap up this evening?
A 1, a 2, we're a day early. Happy birthday to you.
You know, by the time this airs, we're going to be a day late.
Yeah, I know. Happy belated birthday to you.
Happy early birthday, happy actual birthday, and happy belated birthday.
Enjoy
thank you, guys.
Your 41st, you old man, tomorrow / yesterday, September the 12th.
Yeah, so 12
Thank
only
you.
only fitting to be on number on the 12th, right?
I mean, that is part of it.
Yeah, it's part of it, right?
Why do you think he likes the number 12?
I know, got lots of reasons.
Between my birthday and Mike Martin.
Yeah. So there they go.
Yeah.
The more you know. The rest
That's
of the story. So yeah, with that, again, thank Caleb Adrian for coming on this episode of Illiana Stock Car Radio. If you are catching this on YouTube, make sure to hit that like and that subscribe button while you are here. If you're finding us through the Facebook page, make sure you like and subscribe there. If you prefer to listen to us rather than looking at us, I can't say that I would blame you, but we are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and I think it's YouTube Podcasts now, or however, whatever the heck. You use those Android, Samsung, and all those Google Play Store, whatever that's changed over to now. Whatever.
Wherever you find your podcast, we're there.
Exactly. So just Google us. If you don't really have a dedicated podcast app and you want to find us, listen to us there. Again, like and subscribe to wherever you find us. Helps us help you. With that being said, we look forward to seeing you guys next time here on Illiana Stock Car Radio, and make sure to get your backside trackside.